Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast. Another tough one as the Cubs are swept in Atlanta with the season on the line. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Delmendo, and our good friends in the chat. Hello to everybody out there that's joining us on the live YouTube chat. Best way to enjoy the experience is by subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube page, and you won't miss any of the shows. You won't be missing a beer bat chug tonight, unless Cody's really down, and then he might do one anyway, just for different vibes. Listen, this is an Atlanta Braves team that we know is good, right? Best team in baseball. But you just played 3 games, and you were outscored 18-14. 1 run, 2 runs. Mm-hmm. All 3 games were winnable in a must-win situation with the season on the line, but all 3 games featured bad, sloppy baseball at some point. This time it came early in the game, the Ian Happ drop. But that drop was huge. They dropped the ball in 2 of the 3 games. 2 of the 3 games, they dropped the ball.
Yeah. It's, and those are Ian Happ was a Gold Glover last year. I know he's had his moments this year too, but he's still a generally reliable guy in the outfield. You go back to Tuesday, say, as a generally reliable guy in right field, and then obviously Nico might win the Gold Glove, and he had that error yesterday. So it's like as far as the roster goes, it's like top down. You're just getting miscues or mistakes or errors or whatever it is from guys you didn't expect to be doing that right now. Mm-hmm. And if that's a sign of guys are tired or wearing down, whatever. But that's at this point in the season that the excuses are just the excuses, and when you don't win the game, that's the end of it. However you lose it, if you lose it, there's no excuses to be made.
Are they mentally wearing down? Is the pressure of it too much? That's what I don't understand. I could see physically wearing down, but physically doesn't explain dropping balls, throwing the ball over your shortstop's head, throwing the ball into right field, bumbling the ball at the mound, over and over. These are fundamental baseball plays that they're not making at critical times. And let's not forget, we spent an entire offseason saying, okay, this team is being built on pitching and number 1, defense. Their defense will be great. And for the most part, it has been. But down the stretch, for that to be the thing that is really falling apart on you is just unbelievable. How you doing, Cody?
I'm miserable.
Not numb yet?
No, I'm numb. I was numb this morning, and then just like I do every fucking day, man, fucking pull up my big boy pants and come here, put my brave face on to watch this godforsaken team. I'm just... Yeah. The problem here is what pisses me off the most, that they have no one to blame but themselves. They look like I'm not blaming anyone else. I'm pissed off that, of course, Swanson hits a 470 expected batting average, 104 miles per hour, whatever it was, right to a guy there when they could have made the comeback. But Ian Happ not catching that ball led to them scoring 2 unearned runs. It's on them, and it's the story of this entire month. No, I still don't think that this team choked or whatever. I know that's what all the casuals are going to say, and that's what all the trolls are going to say. I don't think that they choked it away. I think injuries played a big part, because his bullpen is so depleted right now with Fulmer and ALLCITY out, and the fact that they couldn't win any games by maybe 4 or 5 runs some days to a point to where they could have given a guy like Luke Little a shot to, get some low leverage innings to then earn some high leverage innings. Like, the only silver lining from this game tonight is that Luke Little pitched well. The bullpen actually pitched well tonight, outside of Assad. And even Assad giving up runs was his own doing because he also had an error, unable to field. Like, it's just demoralizing, man. Like, again, we shouldn't feel like they choked it away or whatever, because again, this team didn't have expectations to be in this situation at all. And I know at some point I will get to that, and I will remember this season fondly, probably. But in this moment right now, I'm just so disappointed. Like, I feel like a dad right now. This is the only time I've ever felt like a dad in my life.
It's like when Luke told
You mean
Seiya
a disappointed dad?
Yeah, I feel like a disappointed dad. Like,
it's pitiful.
Not mad, just disappointed.
You've had during this bad stretch, you've had errors from Dansby Swanson, a World Series winner. Like, put aside the fact that you gave him the 7-year contract. Like, he's made some crucial errors that cost them games, and he's gonna win a Gold Glove, and is far and away the best defensive shortstop in baseball. Ian Happ, who just won a Gold Glove last year, and we've talked at ends over the last years since this podcast existed. We've given him nothing but kudos for his defense in left field. We've given nothing but kudos to Seiya Suzuki this year, seeing the defense improve in right field. And, again, it's not his fault they lost that game the other night. But, like, you catch the ball, you at least go the 9th inning with an opportunity to win the game. And it just came at the wrong time. That's all of it is summing up that I'm just disappointed. And I did not think that this season would come down to me feeling disappointed like I felt like they gave the season away. That is the last thing I felt like we were going to feel this year. I felt like if I was going to feel awful about this year, it was going to, if you would have asked me if everything goes bad or wrong this year, this team would have just been just as bad as last year, and they're selling at the deadline, and Bellinger wasn't going to be nearly as good, and that was a waste, but you still managed to give him away for something. Whatever, like trade Stroman. That would have been if you would have told me or asked me what I thought would have been the worst possible scenario for this entire year, that's what I would have told you if you would have asked me in March or whatever. But we got this instead, and this is worse. To me, it's worse because, again, they were playing with house money, bro. House money. No expectations from this team. And you had a 4-game lead in the wild card, and not only do you give it away, but now you got to go to Milwaukee and you have to win all 3. And that still doesn't even guarantee anything unless the Mets score a run here whenever this rain delay in New York is over. Like, it feels worse. And I know it's more in the moment. And again, after the postseason or in the middle of the postseason, whenever I see whoever wins the World Series and I see some other team look like a bunch of bozos, I'll probably feel better. But right now, like, it just feels worse. And it just... Yeah. I got no words, man. No. Like, it just sucks. This is bullshit.
I understand that feeling from the fan base, right? Like, I mean, just being fans of whoever you are. Like, everyone is a fan of some team, and, especially Chicago teams, man. Chicago teams do not make it easy to be a Chicago fan for any team. And so I completely understand the sentiment and the feeling at the moment of just... I don't know, is bitterness the right word to put it? Just by the way the end of the season has come.
It feels like 2018, 2019, but it shouldn't because those teams were good.
Yeah.
Those teams had higher expectations. That 2018 team, with all those injuries and all that talent, still, just even though they went to the wild card game and lost to the Rockies, like, that team won 95 games, right? And everyone was pissed, and everyone felt like they choked the season away. 2019, okay, they collapsed in the last week or two in September, but you knew all year that team wasn't going to win the World Series, and you also knew that team needed some sort of shakeup, and everyone was, going into that season, everyone was just pissed that the Cubs didn't make the team any better. And we knew that team was probably what they ended up winning, 84 games that year. Everyone knew that maybe 90 games tops they would have won. And then they end up winning 84, going on that whatever losing streak and basically collapsing the year. But again, those teams were so much better than this one. And the fact that they messed around and reeled not just me, but so many people into believing that they could at least make the playoffs. And like we always say, when you go dancing, anything can happen. And I just wanted that opportunity. That's all I wanted after they got past the deadline and was playing so good for that entire month of August for the most part. Like I just wanted to be able to see what this team could have done in October. And you know what? Like now we're probably not going to see it now. And it's just, like I said, it's disappointing, man. Like,
yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. It's like I guess technically the season's not over, but it feels that way, right? Like
it feels that way.
It's getting swept, and obviously in this fashion where it's two really like tough to swallow losses, and this one was kind of like all right, well, let's see if they can claw their way back into this one because they went down so early. But like just the way that ended, and then just how tough the scenario of them now making the playoffs has become, like it feels that way for sure, even if it's mathematically not. I mean, and like I've said the last couple of weeks, Corey said it, like we've all said it, like you're going to look back, or you should, if you really reflect on the season as a whole, a few weeks after the season, but like if you really reflect on the whole season, I think we will say that they definitely took a significant step forward this year, considering where they were the last two seasons. But that also doesn't like change the fact that it's a pretty bitter ending. Like,
doesn't take the sting away of the way this is going.
Exactly. Like it's you can reflect, and as a whole, for 6 months, the Cubs took steps forward, but for the last few weeks, it was a sting. It stung obviously for fans. Like there's a bitter ending to it. A bitter ending again. A bitterness to a, in my opinion, successful and taking a step forward type of season. It's the way it looks like it's going right now, the way it looks like it's going to end. Yeah, it's a bitter pill, man. Again, so that's what I'm saying when I say like I understand the sentiment from the fan base right now because I mean, you know, I've had that feelings with other teams too. Like we've all been there. Had that feeling.
Cody touched on it by saying they've done it to themselves. That's what bothers me. It's not zooming out and looking at this team where they are long term. This was a team in a playoff hunt. We said I declared this is the next great Cubs team. It's the next fun Cubs team. And then they shut off the fun completely because now they're 11-14 in September, and there's no other word for me to use than choke. It's a choke job in the final month of the season. Whether that's because of injuries or because the roster's not good or guys aren't healthy or they're nervous or just not playing well. The word that describes that is a choke when you go 11-14 because there is no other team that is running away with this. They are doing this to themselves. They are playing this way, and the result is because of the way they are playing, not other teams are playing. Yes, the Brewers have had a very good – the division – they did not choke away. The Brewers went and won the division. The Brewers played really good baseball here down the stretch. But the Cubs' playoff spot is all their own doing, unless something miraculous happens this weekend.
They're going to need help for sure.
Well, I mean, if it holds up and the Marlins win, they have to go 3-0, and the Marlins have to go 1-2.
Yep.
Against the Pirates.
Yeah. But the Cubs are up against the
I guess
Brewers.
it's baseball, and anything can happen. But nothing I've seen in the last month tells me the Cubs are going to win 3 straight games.
Yeah, well, and it's like, you know.
Not again.
Like, Craig Counsell isn't going to run his guys into the ground this weekend. But I think we can say, like, he would like nothing more than to do what he can to end the Cubs' playoff push. So 3-0 is going to be a tough ask, obviously. And it may still not be enough if they don't get some help. It's
got a super
tough
chat
way to go
from
down.
Duke.
We got some super chats?
Got a couple. We got
2,
one from Joe. We'll start with him. He's got the $4.99. What a massive choke job by Dansby Swanson in September just to complete gag job. Disappointing for 177. Yeah, he's had a bad September, but that's not a disappointing $177 million. He's a great baseball player.
No, but we'll talk more about him. Let's talk about him in the second segment. The Duke, also with a $20 chat. Anyone know an anesthesiologist? I just want to be put under for as long as it takes until one of our teams is good. Getting surgery while awake is probably less painful than being a Chicago fan right now. Yeah, I mean.
Absolutely right.
Just looking at the box score tonight is painful, man. 10 strikeouts in a game you absolutely need to have. Probably half of those you're going down
errors?
looking.
Two?
Let's check. Let's take a look.
Did they give Assad the error?
Yeah, they did. But
Hap got an error.
Hap got an error and Assad got an error. Go scroll down.
2 errors for the Cubs today.
Yeah,
Two errors, 10 strikeouts.
And those 2 errors, like Cody was saying, led to quite a few runs. I mean, I just don't – I'm worried about Ian Happ. I know the season's almost over and stuff, but, man, that ball was right in his glove again. I don't – it's –
Was that in Colorado in that?
Yeah, it was right – it was
I don't know what's going on in the outfield. Lou Pinelli used to call them Cubby occurrences.
Yeah.
Right now, they're daily occurrences is what they are.
It's really
It's
bad.
like every game you're like talking about a big play that should be routine that isn't. I'm not saying it was, he was camped underneath it like Seiya was and allegedly lost it in the lights. Hap ran to the ball, but it was in his glove. It rolled through his entire glove and came out.
And you say again, it looked like he dropped another one in the lights tonight. Not dropped, but he missed another one in the lights
He went to jump, and it looked like he was there. And all.
Look, he kind of jumped past.
Again, I'm not saying that wasn't a difficult catch had he made it, but he's made difficult catches this season. You're trying to beat the best team in baseball to save your season and get to the postseason. They were not only not making the big plays, they weren't making the routine plays.
Yeah.
Which is bothersome down the stretch. It's tough to watch. I've seen, I don't know almost anybody in the chat that really believes there's still life. There's like 1 or 2 people saying it's not over. I'm not giving a, man, good on you.
I mean,
good on you because my heart tells me it's
the
over.
Marlins
It isn't
haven't
over.
technically
I know,
won yet
but-
as we're recording this.
Just feels like they're going to.
Maybe having a
feels like
positive
it.
mindset is a good thing, right?
I commend
staying-
them.
always
Like
staying
I
positive.
will never put people down for believing in whatever it is they want to believe in when it comes to this organization. You want to believe that they're going to be good, fine. Like to me, that mentality is better than just being pessimistic all the time. And you're just a miserable human being. But like, I'm giving you my own personal vibe right now. Like that's all I've ever done on this show. Whether you hate me or not, I will tell you exactly how I feel about the team. All right. So if you want to get on me for giving up or making you feel like I'm giving up or whatever, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it for you. I feel awful right now, and I'm going to need a lot of Taco Bell at some point.
I want to point something out real quick that I noticed these last 2 nights when they've needed a big swing of the bat late in games. And I know Mastroboni's had a pretty decent week, but he didn't see the ball well at all tonight. And you got a couple big bats on the bench that can give you a closer game. Is there a reason David Ross doesn't look to make that move, to give a guy who can really put one in the seats? Mastroboni looked terrible at the plate tonight. I'm a little confused why that button wasn't pushed.
The ninth
You
inning,
You need 2 runs. It's not like you're down 5.
I don't have the numbers. I don't know the matchups and what they're seeing because I know that's not a complete David Ross call. He has his analytic people on that. And Iglesias is a good closer. Like, I don't know. I obviously have not talked to David Ross. I'm here.
I think if they would have got a guy on first base
We'll
in the
see. I don't
ninth
know.
inning, maybe they would have given, Morel or Canario an
Potentially.
opportunity. I think that's what
Morel was who I was thinking. Morel was who I was thinking. Just because
It was
Mastroboni didn't see
surprising
the
that
ball
Morel
tonight.
didn't play the last 2 days, but with Candelario back, he just kind of and I don't I sat on this show this past week and have kind of gone on little tangents about how this team has missed Candelario. The ninth inning could have gone differently if the ball that Candelario hit just maybe lands fair and not foul by like an inch or two. So but yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that Candelario offensively at least has been kind of a disappointment here in the second half too.
Yeah. I mean, his first.
I just felt like his presence in the lineup at least was better than if they had put the guys that they were putting in beforehand.
I mean, so his first 10 games with the Cubs, Jamer, this is obviously after the trade deadline, he hit 460, had an 1188 OPS. And then from then on, going into today, which obviously he missed time with an injury, but so from game 11 on, going into today, hit 131 with a 576 OPS. So it was like the numbers obviously were really good when he started, and the Cubs were still obviously like winning ball games. Like they hadn't, because it was really like that second half of August when you started to see his numbers go down, but the Cubs were still winning ball games, so I don't think it was magnified as much. But obviously when they start losing a lot and you're looking at like what's going wrong, like part of that obviously was Jamer just overall not hitting well, while, you know, obviously outside of the injury, like just the last few weeks, just not hitting well and, you know, doing what he was brought in to do. And you asked we were talking about it kind of on the couch, like what do you do with Jamer after the season if you're the Cubs? Do you try to re-sign him? Do you know, I don't know. That's another one where I'm like, I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know how they view their internal options. Obviously, they didn't invest a whole lot in Jamer. Like, gave up 2 solid prospects, but they didn't give up a bunch of prospect capital to get him. So I don't know how they view him just yet. I'm like, I will have those conversations and stuff in the offseason. I don't know how they view him, but that's where I'm like, I don't, you know, he didn't play his way into a new contract necessarily is kind of what I'd say. I think he had fine defense. He was able to play fine defense at both corner spots. He had slug. Obviously, it just didn't show up enough when they needed it later on in the season. You know, later these last few weeks or September or whatever. I don't know. That's a question. Obviously, we're going to see answered in free agency or just this winter or whatever. But I just don't know if Jamer fits into their long-term plans, and he didn't. Like I said, I don't think he necessarily played his way into them.
I mean, on the couch when we were talking about it, I said, you know, maybe a 1 year or a 2 year with the second year being a team option, because Matt Shaw probably is the future at third base. I think I'm not sure, but I know that
You hope in a perfect world he is.
The Cubs obviously are high on him, and he's climbed up the prospect rankings, and he went from playing college baseball all the way up to Double-A in a half season, right? So but you have to find someone to play there until he's ready, right? So that's why I wouldn't mind if he came back next year on a 1 year deal. I think he could potentially get a 2 or a 3 year deal, just based off how well he played for, 3 or 4 of the 5 month season that we had. But
a lot of people calling for.
I'm not like, you have to bring Jamer back, though.
No.
You know what I mean?
And if they did, obviously you hope, and he's shown some ability throughout his career to be productive, right? To be a solid productive. Before they traded for him, he was the best bat on the market. Like, people were knocking Jed Hoyer's door down, telling him to trade for Jamer Candelario, and he did. The move just didn't pay off how they hoped it to pay off. And if they bring him back, like, they're gonna hope obviously that he can play a solid role, be productive, and all that. And I'm not counting that out either. It's just I'm like reflecting on his last 2 months of the season. It just wasn't. It wasn't enough to keep the Cubs from falling in the hole they did. Again, his injury kept him off the field for 15, 16 days, whatever. Like, that didn't help either. But just overall, like, his addition didn't solidify the team down the stretch.
He's a decent player who was having a good season early in the year.
Yeah.
Like, let's not overvalue the player. I'm not saying he's a bad baseball player, but I don't think the Cubs were ever sitting as a franchise going, man, how did we let Jamer get away? When he started with them, he's a decent player. You're the Chicago Cubs. If the offseason comes and you still have a hole at third base, go be the Chicago Cubs. Yeah. And you can't just sit and wait and say, it would be very Cub of them to say, yep, Shaw's coming. We're gonna sit and wait on it, and we're gonna give it that 2 year deal, and we'll stick with Candelario. No, go win a division next year. Like,
Well, I want Shohei.
Yeah, right. I don't have a problem if he's I don't have a problem if he's on the team. I'm just saying, counting on taking a marker and putting Shaw at third base for the next 10 years, man, great if it happens. That's what makes your team great, is when you develop your young guys and it works. But Brennan Davis is a name we had in the outfield for a long time, and now most people have given up on Brennan Davis. Some people have given up on PCA after 2 weeks in the majors.
Yeah.
Not me, but like, it just shows you that you can't just say the prospects are all going to hit. The fact that it worked in 2016 is lightning in a bottle. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And those were higher rated prospects than what they have now. Yeah. It's not to say that the farm system isn't something to be positive about. It is. They're going the right direction. It feels good. But you're also the Chicago Cubs. And you've got to spend along with it if that's what it comes to this offseason. Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I wasn't saying like
I know.
I feel like that the Cubs are going to try and just get someone, whether it is Jamer or another
Band-Aid
player like that, and wait for Shaw, but we'll spend more money, whether it is, obviously we want them to bring Bellinger back, but then, there are other guys out there that, that can help the offense, and we've talked about them.
And I'm okay with it if that's what you decide to do.
I wanted to read this tweet that someone tagged us in. It's the Away Games Chicago Cubs podcast guys. They tweeted like a half hour ago, not that they need our cosign, but CHGO Cubs has been doing such a fantastic job on the pods during this stretch. If you aren't listening after every game, you're doing yourself a disservice. It'll make you feel less alone, I promise.
We appreciate that.
I
appreciate it, and good luck with your show.
I don't know any of those guys personally, but
very nice of them.
Very
big
nice.
Of them to do. And so credit to those guys. And if you guys are listening right now, shout out to you.
Credit to me for what I'm about to tell you. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, got some great news for you. Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Fox Lake has just joined the CHGO team. At Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, you're always able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during Jeep Adventure Days at Ray CDJR in Fox Lake, you're able to take up to 15% off MSRP on all new 2023 Jeep Gladiator models. But that's not all. Now, through September 30th, that's Saturday, explore their newly renovated showroom and take advantage of breathtaking deals as they celebrate their grand reopening. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they are not only the team we recommend, they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or RayCDJR.com today, serving the community since 1963. And if you're smart, you show up with 2 pockets full of bacon, baby. Charlie the Bacon Guy is based out of Woodridge, Illinois. He makes craft bacon and bacon jams in over 30 different flavors. Not 5 flavors, not 10 flavors, not 15 flavors, not 20 flavors, 30 different flavors or more. This product is always all natural, no fancy preservatives. Order lots of bacon, vacuum sealed, it freezes great. Bacon lasts in a package up to 45 days in the fridge, 6 months in the freezer. Bacon jam, 60 days in the fridge, a couple hours in my house, and up to 6 months in the freezer. Some of the favorite flavors, maple pepper. How about French toast? Oh, you know that's my favorite. There's giardiniera, chorizo. Bacon jam goes perfectly on anything. It's scrambled eggs, toast, crackers, burgers, grilled cheese. Charlie's favorite, the big old spoon. He will deliver to you, meet you halfway, or even ship it. He will get you the bacon on time. Contact him on Instagram at Charlie the Bacon Guy, on Twitter, or what do they call it now?
X.
Oh, wait.
At CZ the Bacon Guy. And his email is charliethebaconguy@gmail.com. His website is coming soon. He is Charlie the Bacon Guy. We got any more super chats we got to get through here?
Yeah, we had one from Walnut.
What do they say?
David Ross, gotta go, man. Give me Craig Counsell. 2 heartbreaking losses, and it's been a great season. I have no words other than heartbroken. Walnut 2008.
What's with all the Counsell love? Why are
Free
people
agent.
why are people just so in love with it? Is he
He's
that
a great
great?
manager.
He gets all the credit for how well they do.
He seems like a good enough manager.
I mean,
He's got a very punchable face.
I don't think he's
don't
going
like.
to leave Milwaukee, but man, don't let a guy like me dream about it.
Well, somebody said that in our chat or our Slack, right? It was like, why would he leave? And
also, like,
money.
He probably doesn't like
That was
the
me who
Cubs.
said
Yeah,
that.
money, Kevin. That's the reason.
I don't think
doubt
I
it.
see.
Listen, I don't like the White Sox, but if they offered me $1 million right now, I'd go there and do whatever they want me to. I'd mop the floors. Find out who shot that poor woman in the stands.
Would you work for the Packers for $1 million?
I would work for the Packers.
You'd move to Green Bay?
I did the Lambeau Leap for a job once in Green Bay.
Really?
Big of you.
Big of me to admit it. Credit to me.
Big of you,
man
to
of
admit here
integrity.
on this set with all
20
these
plus
people
years
watching.
ago, I did a Lambeau Leap in a Santa suit, the same one that I wore to Wrigley Field.
Oh, no, you mean the one you borrowed to Stucky
Winterland?
Claus.
That's right.
Stucky
Yeah.
Claus.
Stucky Claus did a
Real ones know
Lambeau
about
Leap
Stucky
once.
Claus.
I will say this: if the Brewers are dumb enough to let Craig Counsell walk, that'll be almost in the same stratosphere as trading Josh Hader when you're leading the division. That's on the same. That's on the same plan.
Well, like their VP of baseball operations or whatever they call it there. Like he's already
Which is the Mets,
he's
David
go-
Stearns.
Yeah, he
Gone
just
to the Mets
signed
where
to the Mets
Counsell
to
could go.
be to like fix their
Gary's
dumpster
saying that
fire.
too.
I mean, there was rumors that Counsell wouldn't even manage in 2024, right? Like that he may step away for a little
It
bit.
makes sense.
I don't know if
that
those are still
people
the
want him,
updated
man.
rumors, but I know I've seen that.
It makes sense that people want him. I mean,
It makes sense to want him. I just don't think it's like a very realistic.
he's
option.
a
It
Milwaukee
could happen,
guy.
but
Yeah,
I just don't see it as
him
being like
leaving.
a very realistic option. It would. I'd be more surprised.
I'm
than not
also
if they were to get him.
Honestly, I'd be more surprised if the Cubs actually fired David Ross than if the Cubs hired him because again,
Yes.
like Luke says, money talks. But I just don't think the Cubs even though I think that with this whatever you want to call it collapse, whatever you want to call it, I think he should be fired. I don't think the Cubs are going to do it. And you know what? I'll find a way to give him the benefit of the doubt going into next year because that's what I do. And you want to call me delusional for it? Fine, whatever. But, again, like I said, I think it'd be more surprising if the Cubs actually fired Ross.
Frank wants to know, is Morel still on the roster?
Yeah, I saw him walking in the dugout after the game ended and Marquis was was finishing up. He was in there. I saw him there, bro.
Just like Keegan Thompson is alive, as Sean C. asked us a lot yesterday.
All I can do is laugh through the pain, man. I don't know. Can we talk about Stro?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's talk about him. What
Segment
did you
2.
think? I'll say this.
Not great, Bob.
No, not great. And you could sugarcoat it by saying, well, and this is true, but also slightly deceiving. Only 2 of the runs were earned because of the Happ error, and a lot of that might not have happened if the error doesn't. It was a big error, and that set the tone for the game. But he still gave up a home run. He still was hit around hard. Like, it wasn't like they were getting cheap base hits off of him. They were knocking him around. Listen, I don't know what the situation is. I don't even know if he's already said he's not 100%. He came back to try and help. Now, why all of a sudden he went from I'll do anything to back to starting? I liked him better in the bullpen, but I'm not going to blame the way that the season is finishing on Marcus Stroman necessarily. Again, a lot of stuff has happened.
I'm fairly confident it wasn't a David Ross only decision. I think they both talked about the decision on Saturday, and I know, Stroman just discussed like when he first came back, some of the rotation was going obviously, and just didn't want to disrupt that. But this is part of what he said on Saturday. I was looking to contribute wherever I could. It just became difficult to get hot, cold up in the bullpen. I think there were obviously conversations around that about what the role, if it would evolve or not, and obviously the decision was made to have Stroman take over that Saturday start. Which, when I look back at it with Assad has pitched prior to going into the rotation, which he did pitch out of the rotation really well, to start, for a good while there, right, when they needed it. But he also pitched really well out of the bullpen and in some of those multi-inning and, shorter burst, shorter inning type outings. But when down his last 2 or 3 starts prior to Stroman going back in the rotation, like Assad didn't look great. Like he was getting hit really, really hard. And it kind of reminded me of earlier in the season when Keegan was getting results, but you could see the underlying numbers, and there was concern that, like, how long can those results continue with some of the underlying numbers being what they are. And Assad, it was to me, it was kind of the same way. Like, he was getting solid results, not like spectacular, but also not like crazy awful. But he was getting hit really hard, and he was like, there was just some underlying stuff that were concerning. And so, in the moment, I didn't disagree with putting Stroman back in there, because if that, just having that routine is going to make him, or is going to get you the best out of what you have left in Stroman for the season, like Assad has proven he could go back to the bullpen and do that well. And then he did that on Saturday and pitched really well. Was it 4 innings, like 49 pitches, very efficient. So like that's like a whole situation, obviously, that if the best you're going to get out of Stroman down the stretch was to put him in the rotation, if there was a game where he warmed up a couple times and never got in, if doing that and just not having that starter routine, but getting back to that was going to help him, you knew Assad could go in, and he'd been struggling in the rotation. Like it's like I'm a little kind of, I see both sides of that one as well, and I just don't know what the best decision would have been, because it didn't work out, right? Like I don't know if leaving Assad in there would have been any better, because I did have those concerns. But obviously on the flip side, we saw what happened with Stroman. It was 2 just not solid starts from him when the Cubs kind of needed it. So it's like I'm torn on deciding what was the right direction to go. But that's also on hindsight. Like I don't like, on hindsight, I'm like, well, this didn't work out. To me, and I don't like being a hindsighty type person.
To me, listen, the guy's coming in the year, he was your number one guy coming in the year, right? He pitched like the number one guy all the way up until London. Whenever I assume after London is probably when the injury stuff that they hid, or that he didn't say, or whatever, the hip stuff started happening, and that's why he started pitching bad. Dude, we thought he wasn't coming back at all. Whenever he hit the IL, everyone thought he was out for the rest of the year. I commend him for coming back and trying to do something. And whether if he wanted to go back, like whether they put him back in the rotation because it's better for his routine or whatever, like I don't care. Like to me, I get again, we didn't think he was going to come back the rest of the year. And so, yeah, it didn't work out, but I will give him credit at least for trying, because this team was running on fumes, man. And like his injury and him having to be out is the beginning of the domino effect of this team falling apart, because him getting hurt led to them having to put Assad in the rotation, meaning that they had to that was the start of the bullpen starting to fall apart, because they didn't have enough guys on top of the injuries of not Keegan Thompson's, Brandon Hughes and Michael Fulmer, and then eventually Albert Alzolay. Like his injury is honestly like I think we all kind of feared it when it happened. Like we feared it, and they kept playing well, and we were like, oh, they're somehow figuring it out, blah 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 blah. And then the domino effect of what his injury created started to affect this team. So to me, he's the guy you paid to be a starter, man, and to come in and pitch big games. He didn't get it done. Was he healthy? Was he 100%? I doubt it.
No, yeah.
He said he's not. He said there's no way he's 100%. I will say this, like, if the situation were different and they had a stash of they had a loaded rotation and he was in that, they don't have a loaded rotation. They have a rotation that's been crumbling and trying to patchwork and go back, and a lot of guys have stepped in to do some pretty good jobs, right? Yeah. If he had tried to come back and pitch after that, and it was a pride thing, and he wanted to be on the state, that would be a totally different story. this was a desperation move to try and get him back on the field because they didn't have guys that they could count on. Like at the time, Tyone wasn't even playing. Tyone wasn't pitching well. Now Tyone has stepped up the last couple of days, last couple starts, right? But this was a desperation move by the Cubs to try and get anything they could out of Stroman, and good on him for pushing as hard as he possibly could to get back. I don't know what it's going to mean for next year. I don't, but I wouldn't feel great with him pitching if some miracle happened and they won 3 and somehow they got in and the Marlins had this off weekend and they got in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel great about Stroman pitching in the postseason.
Right.
Even if they left him off the playoff roster, I wouldn't be like, that's crazy. It's because he's clearly not 100%.
Right.
He's not.
To me, based off what we've seen from him coming out as a starter these last 2 chances, like if they get in the postseason somehow, some way, to me, he's got to go back to the bullpen.
I can't start him.
Yeah.
Unless you want to try using him as an opener.
Yeah.
But I can't be like, hey, you're going for 5 innings.
Maybe for like a Wicks on a day, like just an opener or an inning or
if
2, and then
this,
Wicks comes in. Like
if
that's
somehow,
what has to happen.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because he had such a great season and at the beginning, and then
First half,
the injury stuff started to loom large. And the thing that makes me even more frustrated about that is because throughout his career he's been a guy who has consistently gone out there and give teams 30 starts a year.
Sugar not in the live chat. I don't tell anybody how to do your chat thing, but let me just say this. If you're saying, is this Marquee Network? We love everybody. Where were you when he was MFing and I was calling it a choke job, and the first thing we talked about for the first 30 minutes was no defense, dropping fly balls, throwing it over your shortstop's head, going 0 for 4. Like, what are you talking about,
This
bro?
is also the same guy that just said Stroman wasn't hurt. Show me the X-rays. Clown. He has no idea what he's talking about. He has no
wasn't
idea what he's
hurt.
talking
It's in his best interest to pitch and try to pitch well.
Yeah,
going into the
offseason.
I mean, he has no idea what he's talking
I don't
about.
know.
So
I don't know how.
If he wasn't hurt, they might have actually traded him.
Like,
Maybe.
They might have traded him.
No, yeah. So that again, I come back to like it's definitely a questionable decision to move Stroman back in the rotation, Assad out. But like again, I think I keep going back to getting something out of Stroman when the pitching staff and especially the bullpen is like this is how it's been this month. Getting something out of Stroman, some kind of contributions. I think everyone realized that he wasn't going to be at 100% if he came back, but trying to get something out of him going into this last stretch, like that was better than nothing, obviously. And I'm going to say, if you needed him to move to the rotation and have that kind of starters routine, because he's obviously he's been in the league for a while. He has his routines. Like doing the rotation, the bullpen thing is tough, and props to Assad for being able to do it. But like if Stroman, if you're gonna get the best out of Stroman by letting him have his routine, like I understand that side of the coin. Like again, questionable, debatable. Did it work out? It didn't work out well enough, obviously. But like if that's the decision made in terms of like how can we possibly get the best contributions out of Marcus Stroman down this stretch, if that's the move that has to be made, then it has to be made. And if it's wrong, if it doesn't work out, you wear it, right? I think that's kind of what we've been saying. Like if you make a decision with some logic, but it doesn't work out, you still have to wear it. And I think that's kind of where it's at.
yeah.
Cody, you want to tell us about our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary?
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat could use it. You know who you are. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your football, your baseball season, if it's still alive somehow, some way. No matter where you are in your cannabis journey, easy online ordering and in-store pickup, great transparent loyalty program, Sunnyside Rewards, Illinois' favorite dispensary. You got the House of Brands, Mindy's, the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles created by James Beard Award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs. Good News, Cresco, High Supply, Wonder, and a lot more. So through October 15th, head to Sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer. Not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your football season. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med card holder. Am I supposed to come up with someone that made me feel good?
Yeah, who made you feel good in Chicago sports? Give you the Sunnyside
This week?
fall feels. Yeah, this week.
It's Thursday, so I didn't know if I was supposed to do it. Sorry.
Anybody in Chicago sports?
Huh.
I call them the fall feels.
The fall feels.
The fall feels.
They're leaving work a little bit early, taking off, enjoying the nut.
Who's giving me
It's
the
my
fall
favorite
feels?
season because you get football season starts, hasn't worked out.
It's shorts and
Baseball
hoodie weather.
season could be exciting, has worked out. And generally the weather's not humid. You get those, like next week's going to be 80 still in October. That's what I like.
Yeah.
That's the weather I like. And then you
With
go
you.
into sweatshirt weather, which I also like.
I do too. Maybe
But what player's giving you the sunny
we
side
have
feel?
to choose a Cub.
I say Tyone.
Yeah, Jamison Tyone. We didn't give him enough kudos yesterday, honestly.
Yeah, that was a great start for him. And again, it's like he's had a couple of those like
Pretty good September.
where
Maybe he's like, it's so weird how we're perhaps going in the offseason feeling as good about, if anyone to feel good about, it's him. It's wild that that's actually a thing.
Yeah, it's I
Do you
always
feel better? Let's say
I know it was just 1 month.
let's say
but, like,
Stroman opts in.
Yeah.
Do you feel better next season going into it about Stroman or Tyone?
Well,
It's not. I mean, it would have been a crazy question.
Still have more
Prior to
faith.
the All-Star
I still
break.
have way more faith in Stroman to come back.
I think
and be a lot
it's all
stronger.
about health when it
Yeah.
comes to Stroman at this point, right?
got better
when
stuff.
he's
Well, you
healthy,
hope
he's
so.
good.
Yeah.
But Tyone, they showed on Marquee yesterday, the strikeout rate for him for each month increased. He struck out 30% of the batters he faced this month. He struck out 3 in his last yesterday against the Braves, but the Braves have one of the best, one of the lowest K rates as a team in baseball. But what he did against that lineup was really impressive. So, yeah, I guess I don't know. I mean,
It would be Stroman, but I start to worry when an older player basically struggles for a half a season because of injury. It's the same reason people were worried about Kyle Hendricks. Now he was able to finally bounce back, but
I mean, they're both in their 30s, but I'm hoping that this month is kind of that launching point for him next year to just be solid.
Yeah, be your third or fourth starter
Yeah,
next
like
year.
to actually
That's
be
really
what they
you want
signed him to
Tyone
be.
you
Like,
know?
and you want to look back at like all the games that they, whether they gave away or just lost. I mean, we can't ignore the fact that the first 2-3 months of the season for Tyone, you felt like every time he went out there, the Cubs were going to lose, and they basically did. So they obviously that's a thing for next year is you gotta make sure you got 5 starters who you can rely on to go out there.
he did pitch better the last couple games. Did you finish this through October 15th part?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
someone asked, is this a Marlins hat? No, it is a Mexico baseball World Baseball Classic
It's like the
hat.
third time.
Wow,
Yeah.
that would be something if you were doing that.
And then
We're Marlins fans
and
over
then
here.
Barb might comment
Mets
like,
fans.
does Ryan know that they lost the game to Japan? And I will say yes. I'm well aware that happened.
Becky's saying, Luke, go get a Powerball ticket. Already got him, Becky. We got a post-game show tomorrow.
But if
That-
Luke wins,
No
he
Rice
ain't going to be
Krispie
here.
But
treats.
if I
today,
win
Luke.
that Powerball, you will not see me on Sunday. No, I did not
Rice
pick up the
Krispies
Rice
today.
Krispie treats. Sorry about that.
All
Hey,
his fault.
you know what's coming up this weekend as well? Not only the final game of the regular season on Sunday against the Brewers, we got 3 games against the Brewers, final one on Sunday. Also, the CHGO tailgate, number 2 against the Broncos. Somebody got to win. We keep declaring. Somebody got to win. Bears, Broncos. Somebody got to win. If you sign up to be a diehard, you get 20%
Could
off that.
tie.
You could. 20, and that would be the most fitting ending to that game. Premium written content for members at allchgo.com. That's all part of being a diehard, plus your 20% off all events like that tailgate, the dope merch. Cody and I, all 3 of us got the dope merch on today. 20% off that all the time. You get a free shirt when you sign up to be a member. And, of course, you get the members-only Discord where you and Gary and Ryan and Cody and next season me will all hang out. Anyways, please sign up to be a CHGO diehard. We appreciate
Better.
it. And we hope to see you at the tailgate, because the tailgate includes all-you-can-eat firewater barbecue, right?
Yep.
All-you-can-drink Goose Island booze. A lot of 312s going down. A lot of pocket pilsners. A lot of beer hugs. And then all the vibes you can handle. Also very important.
We had a lot of the chat saying the Bears suck, but no one's asking you to watch the game or go to the game, but just come hang out and vibe with us.
Go to the tailgate. Forget the game.
Unless if you're going to yell at me.
I'm not going to the game, but I'm going to try and go to the tailgate.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
I guess if the Cubs season is over, I guess I don't have to watch on Sunday, and I can just be hurt by one team in the city.
What's your DraftKings pick of the week, by the way? You got a DraftKings pick of the week? Something big, something hot?
What have I been giving out on CHGO Bets Daily?
Cubs money line next 3 games?
Place it and then have your bleach ready. Let's go Browns minus 2.5 against the Ravens this Sunday. I like the Browns to cover the 2.5, a.k.a. win by a field goal. Half the Ravens roster is hurt. Yeah. If I were to bet the Bears game, I'm just going to take the over because their defense stinks. And Sean Payton has fixed Russell Wilson. So
there you go.
Give me the
he
over.
Hasn't fixed the rest of the team yet. But.
No.
Yeah. Well, they can't play defense either.
He hasn't
they
fixed the defense, 70
Maybe
points.
the Bears will put up points.
There you go.
That's what I'm thinking.
My
Give me the
Mizzou
over.
pick of the week, minus 13.5 versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah?
Bucket.
Mizzou pick of the week.
We're covering again this week for the second week in
you
a row.
pushed last week,
No,
right?
not for you, maybe.
with the
You
facts.
got in too late.
I did get in too late.
Mark's rooting
I
for the
didn't
Brewers
lose.
now.
I just pushed. I got my money back.
Covered for me.
There's only one team to root for, Brandon Hyde. Orioles, if you got to root for somebody if the Cubs aren't.
Yeah, man, the Orioles are awesome.
I don't root for
They're
American
fun.
League teams, but I would like to see them get to the World Series.
Wanna-
Sweet. Yeah.
You want to know
Fun team.
I guess the actual good news of today?
The Cardinals have already been eliminated.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's always the good news.
But they did get their 90th loss today. That did feel kind of nice. I just I am a little I am still bummed about my own fandom, but they did have much higher expectations for the year. So to see them lose 90 games, it does make me feel a little bit better.
I know the chat's down on David Ross. That's never going to change.
Death, taxes, fire David Ross, says the chat.
A big debate today going back and forth through the chat is, are you down on Dansby or not? We were going to talk about this late last night, and we just never really did it.
Didn't we talk about it on Tuesday?
We
Yeah,
totally
I mean-
have talked about this.
But are you down on him as each day goes by? Are you getting more and more down on the finish? Listen,
on the
I
finish,
don't know
sure,
how you
but-
could look at the season and say it's been a bad season. But are you down on how it's when it's crunch time and it's September and you're begging for big games? He has struggled. He has struggled.
He's had his struggles, especially defensively, just more errors or even just miscues that we had come to expect out of him than the standard that he set.
I don't think we were saying on the couch, I'm not sure he's healthy. I'm not trying to make excuses for a guy. That's not a reason that he's 0 for 4 on one night or make it errors that he doesn't usually make. We said it, we did say the other day, all the shortstops, they put out the graphic, all the shortstops that were signed, he has the highest WAR of any of them this season. So for 1 year, it's been a great value signing. Stop at the 177. It's not my money.
Yeah, it's not
They
your money
they
either,
needed
Chad.
a shortstop. They signed a shortstop and made him better by putting
They
Nico
didn't
at
sign
second
him, then
base.
y'all be calling Ricketts cheap.
Yes.
I mean, it's unreal about how many people complain about how Tom Ricketts didn't
He's
spend
not
any money.
He's not A-Rod. We know.
We know he's not A-Rod.
And $177 million for a shortstop, that's a good deal, man. That's not it's a lot of money.
That's what
not
it costs nowadays.
Yeah, that's not an overpay. Look at what
To-
star shortstops are making in baseball right now. Stop
just
it with that.
Look at, if you just bring up his Fangraphs page, you got a 4.9 F-WAR this year. That's the second highest WAR of his career. He was a 6.5 F-WAR last year, all right? So has he been as good as his walk year? No. Okay. Are we a little disappointed in that, I guess? Well, he was also in a much better lineup as well. And that's why we all know that offensively, he was never going to be a guy that can carry a team. He was never a guy who carried the Braves. All right?
No, but I mean, I know what people are saying. Like, he was brought here to kind of lead the way, right? Teach the young guys. And when it has counted the most these last couple weeks, it's been a tough go.
For sure.
And I'm not trying to make an excuse by saying he's not healthy. I'm just telling you, I just watched him run down to first base on that double play where I was disappointed, and it looked like he didn't even kind of run through the bag. I saw somebody in the chat just say, "Oh, is Hap hurt too? Is that why he's dropping?" No, that's what I keep saying, that they're making bad plays. I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody. Hap dropped the ball. Suzuki dropped the ball.
I will say
Nico threw the ball over short. Assad dropped it. The ass man dropped the ball.
Here in September, like Ryan said, defensively, yes. It's
been tough.
It's been tough to watch. But anyone who is calling this signing a bust, I just assume you just started watching the season in September and that's it. Like, they wouldn't have even been in this position without him.
He's going to win the Gold Glove.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's made bad plays, but I'm pretty sure he's going to win the Gold Glove at short.
Right. He's had career highs this year that he's never. He's had career highs. That's career highs. I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry.
Please don't anybody go in the chat and tell me to get Javi back. Please.
I'm looking at the numbers and I lost train of thought. I'm sorry.
Back.
But overall, okay, 106 way runs created plus. You'd like that to be a little bit higher for a guy that's supposed to be in the middle of your lineup, right? But still, he's an above league average hitter. He walked 10 at this point. He's walked 10.2% of his play appearances this year. That's the first time that he's walked that much since 2017 in his second year with the Braves, and he's had way more plate appearances this year than he did then. And then everything else is just kind of the same as it was last year in terms of like the home runs and just the batting average, the on base and slugging. It's all right around the same, or if it's not the same, then it's like close. It's maybe 20 or 30 points off. What's the difference? One good week can increase those numbers up to what it was last year, I guess. But yeah, I won't sit here and I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it. I'm saying that, this month, especially in moments where you felt like they needed him to either get the big hit or something like that, he hasn't came through. I'm just saying that anyone who thinks he's a bad signing needs to go take a look in the mirror and
I'm with you.
And just take a breath.
Yeah.
And I am not here for that slander.
Yeah, no, I think you're still looking at this as a good first year, a good contract that you feel like, especially considering the other three shortstops that have signed, like you're like, oh, like that was a very great value get to get Dansby, because he has been in some respects better than any of the other three that got huge contracts. I with Dansby, like coming from Atlanta, like that Atlanta team had just won the World Series 2 years ago. Like there was a lot of really, really good players on that team. The Cubs aren't as talented. I'm not, they gave him a lot of money. Like he should be among the best players. All right, he should be, one of the top couple players on this roster and come through when everyone else is struggling. He didn't do that. But I'm not, I've not lost confidence that he can be the player that, next season, right? Like the Cubs are trying to make the playoffs again. They're going through something. I'm still confident that Dansby Swanson can be that leader that they need in the clubhouse, and also like he could still be a productive player in those bigger moments. Like you said, just down the stretch hasn't really always come through in those moments, but he's a very good player. He stays very level-headed through the good and bad times. I think he's going to put in the work during the offseason to be even better. Obviously, you hope that the Cubs add some more talent around him. But I think he's going to be one of those guys that if the Cubs are going to make the playoffs next year, again, not saying the season's over, even though, if
I'm sitting here declaring it.
But if the Cubs are trying to make the playoffs next year, like I'm looking at I'm still confident we're looking at Dansby Swanson as a pretty integral part of that, right? Regardless of who they bring in, like
I
Dansby
agree with
Swanson
Greg
is
in the
going to be
chat.
that guy.
If he was a free agent next year, we'd all be begging again for him with the stats that he had this year.
Absolutely.
Yes. What did the
Absolutely.
Cubs do? They added good players. He's a good player. That's what I'm not saying he's a superstar. He's not a top 5 player in baseball. That's not what they added. That's this year when they get Shohei. And somebody, I did see a super chat, by the way.
Yeah,
Somebody
we got a
said,
couple.
is signing Bellinger enough? Do they need more power? Right? And yes, I 100% agree with that. I've just said that losing Bellinger can't happen now because you see why they need him so bad.
This lineup, considering how we felt about it at the beginning of the year, I would say it's outperformed our expectations for the offense this year, right? And Bellinger is a big part of that.
Huge part of that.
He's probably at least 50% part of that because we didn't know what to expect out of Bellinger. But Nico has had another solid year. Seiya, ups and downs, but he's finishing strong, and he's outside of dropping that ball, he's been a big part of them even being in this position too. They have a lot of really good players, but as a lot of people in the chat have said, as we have said, they need one more, whether it's a star or a superstar type bat, to go in the middle of that lineup with Cody Bellinger next year, and then you start to integrate some of those prospects like PCA, Alexander Canario, if they keep him, whatever. I don't know. We got a whole offseason to talk about, and this offseason is going to be a lot more fun to talk about this team than last year. I don't want to think about that. But, again, there are things there that, they just need a few more pieces, and then obviously they need to continue to develop talent the way that they have been. So I know there's still 3 games to go, and this Marlins-Mets game is still delayed. But if there's anything that I am excited about the offseason is that I do feel very, very excited about what could come. And again, like Luke's the chat that Luke read, we were begging for a shortstop this past offseason, and Swanson has been great. He's lived up to it.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't maybe this month, but he still made another great play tonight where you're like, wow, that's a really sweet play. I know what they're saying. There have been some clutch moments where you're like, man, is this our guy? He's a good player. He's not a perfect player.
Well, baseball is just so Hall of Famers fail 70% of the time.
That's
bro,
right.
With the bat, to me that they need a deeper lineup, and in a deep lineup, Dansby probably hits 6th or 7th, in my opinion. He either hits 6th or 7th in a deep lineup, and something like what the Braves have, and the Braves are a historic offense, right? But that's what I'm saying. He had such a great year last year. What's the difference between the Braves lineup this year and last year, except that it's Orlando Arcia in Swanson's spot?
Right.
They have the same team as last year, and they're putting up a historic season. So, when you have a lineup that deep and the threat that the Braves have, no wonder Swanson had a career year like that last year. The fact that he still put up another quality, solid year this year should not give us any doubt that he's not the guy at short, or that that the Cubs made a mistake. I will fight this all offseason if I have to. I will not take Dansby Swanson slander. I will, if I have to plant the flag on Cubs Twitter, I will do it.
For reference, real quick, Dansby Swanson is the 14th highest paid shortstop in baseball this year.
14th.
Next year, that goes up to top 5. You will be paid $26 million next year.
Okay.
So you have the best defensive shortstop in the league right now, paid like he's the 14th.
20-plus home runs.
Shortstop?
Yeah. He's the 14th highest paid shortstop in the league this year, according to Spot Track. Next year, that pops up to 5th.
Yeah, I mean, that's not
wrong. Don't
factoring.
let the facts get in the way of a good story.
That's right. One more super chat, and then we got to tell some sponsors hello. What up?
From
hello, what up?
Burge. What did Burge say?
What does the Cubs player development lack that both the Dodgers and Braves apparently seem to have? Not enough scouts? Is it analytics? Is it money?
Years, honestly. The Cubs overhauled
Yes.
their infrastructure pitching-wise and have done a lot of they've added a lot of things. to both sides of that coin.
Some of them from the Dodgers. They've hired some of the Dodgers people.
But the they didn't. Obviously, they did it later than the Braves and the Dodgers have. And the Dodgers have been making the playoffs like every year for 2 decades. The Braves have been good for like 30 years. Or obviously, there's years and they're not, but like they're pretty consistently among the best organizations in baseball. The Cubs overhauled the infrastructure in the last few years. Like, it's going to take time to get there. Those are obviously the goals. It's the Braves or the Dodgers. And, I'm not saying the Cubs can't get there, but, like, after this whole overhaul, like, you haven't seen really the fruits of that yet. There's still ways to go to get to that level because they're just behind. I think is what it is they're behind timing-wise from where some of the organizations that just feel healthier and top to bottom are like feel like well-oiled machines. Like, those are the organizations that were like ahead of the curve, and the Cubs obviously have to try to catch up to that.
But they've had great development in with what the changes that they have made, though. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm saying that, but
they are behind the Dodgers and the Braves
behind.
because those organizations are winning a lot more than the Cubs.
Right.
Well, I think that's what
sure.
I'm trying to say is they the fruits of what they've done internally in the system, minor leagues, all that stuff, player development wise.
Sorry.
They're not. You haven't seen it yet because it's still relatively new what they've done to change things. Obviously, they have to start hoping that those that starts paying dividends soon, so that they know that they're doing the right things. But like they're just behind is kind of what I'm saying. They're behind where the Braves and the Dodgers are and have to play some catch up to get there.
Yeah.
I misspoke too. Dansby is the 12th highest shortstop, not 14th.
Hey, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
That still sounds
Well, that's
low.
actually a better story.
Yeah.
Still sounds low to me.
Just wanted to clarify.
Hey,
Is there one more?
want to tell you about if you're looking for a hot bobblehead, maybe a hoodie, something like that, heading into the off season, whenever it gets here, maybe it's Sunday, maybe
Christmas is right around the corner.
That's right. Foco, get fitted out with the best sports gear around, hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. They've even got Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need. Maybe you need a hoodie this fall. Maybe you need a new winter hat. Look at our set decorations. A lot of them come from Foco. They've really spiced up our set. Check out Foco.com. Click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
And while you're buying something from Foco, you might as well just click open another tab, go to ShadyRays.com, and get yourself a nice pair of Shady Rays. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures is what you get with Shady Rays, and that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. From building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to ShadyRays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
Very nice. Going to be wearing mine all weekend long. My Shady Rays. The sun's coming back. Going to be out.
Yeah, I actually just lost mine today.
You lost them?
Yeah.
Call them up.
I had them like
Lost
in the
some
little
broken
side
replacements.
pocket of my backpack, and I went in there and they were gone. So I'm like, I got to call up Shady Rays and get them replaced because they will. They got your back.
And, on tough days like tonight, you can wear them and just hide your misery, too.
Yeah, I'll probably be just wearing my Shady Rays all weekend.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Sunny, cloudy, doesn't matter. Just put them
Inside.
on. Morning. They can also be morning glasses, and we're not talking about the day,
Yeah.
like time of day. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Morning. Cubs lose 5-3.
Taylor McGregor tweeted.
Yeah.
Taylor McGregor tweeted Hendricks, Wicks, Steele for the weekend.
Hendricks, Wicks, Steele.
So they're putting out their best starters.
Well, yeah.
Yep, that's the best 3.
That's the best 3.
That's it.
There you go.
Well, Steele, that's how he
I'm
lines
actually-
up.
I
He had
don't-
no choice.
I don't know what I want. I've like the Marlins have the lead in this delayed game right now. And if they somehow blow this game
Still
and
tied.
lose, then there's that little glimmer of hope again. Like I have already begun my like morning. Like I'm almost at a point where I just kind of want them to just win it so I can go into this weekend with just nothing. Like, or at least just very, 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 very low odds of getting what I want. Like, I just want the acceptance stage to start. That's what I feel like that's what I want. It has been a very unhealthy 2 weeks for me. I can't do this anymore.
I'm right there with you, man. I feel
Hi,
it.
my name's Cody. I have a problem.
Like, I want the Marlins to blow this game, but I don't want them to blow this game.
There's a lot of rain in that forecast. I just looked at the radar. I don't know if they're going to finish that game.
They might just
Does it
call
go to
and give
last
them the
played
win.
inning? Does it finish with that? Does it finish in the middle of an inning? Or
I
does
don't.
it, there's
I
a weird
actually
rule about
don't
that
know
sometime,
the
but
rule specifically.
Somebody was trying to post a rule earlier in the podcast. I don't even know what it was
Oh, really?
about, but
Okay.
they said look it up, and I thought, well, they
I
just
am not
post
in
the-
denial like someone in the
post it.
chat
I don't look
says.
things up. What
I
am I?
literally said that I want to
Encyclopedia?
accept what is happening. All right.
Here's rules for a regular. I don't know, like a regulation game. If a regulation game is terminated early due to weather, the results are considered final. If the home team is leading, if the home team is trailing, the results are considered final. If the game is not in the midst of an inning when the visiting team has taken the lead. So that's exactly what happened, right?
yeah.
So it wouldn't be final.
So
I think that it's such a major game for like playoff implications that I think MLB will find a way. Whether they have to
wait it out. They
whether
might play that at 3 a.m.
Yeah, like they're either gonna play it or they're gonna reschedule and play it tomorrow or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how they'll do it, but they're gonna play. They're gonna finish that game.
They kind of have to
Yeah.
with the playoff implications.
yeah.
Please hit the like button on the way out if you're disappointed in today's Cubs game. Let us know you were disappointed in the game by hitting the like button. Thanks to everybody that
Don't
joined
hit
in the live
downvote.
YouTube
That doesn't
chat.
mean that like if you downvote.
No,
that's
yeah, you're not
against
voting
us.
no, the Cubs were down.
You got to vote up because we
You
were
like
a good
us.
therapy
Thumbs
session.
up, thumbs up. Were
If
we
you didn't like this
therapy? Were we
session,
some? Did
I don't
we
know what to tell you.
help you get through it for an hour and 15 minutes, whatever it's been?
Big of
Anyways,
us.
we'll be back tomorrow to do the same. Oh, there it is, thumbs down. Thanks
Love
to everybody
y'all.
that joined
Love
in the
y'all.
live.
I really do. I really do.
live
love
YouTube
y'all.
chat. 5-3 Braves. Cubs get swept by a total of 4 runs. Season's on the line. Big time tomorrow. We'll be back here for a full hour post-game show. Have a great start to the weekend on Friday, and we will see you back here after the game tomorrow. Until then, hang in there and fly the W.